Yeah.
Yeah.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Yerrr Sports Show, a special late edition of the Yerrr Sports Show. I am your host, Big Baby, aka the Soul R&B. To my bottom middle, we have the voice of the generation, Pete Rosado.
What's up, everybody? Friday night, Yerrr Sports Show live for the first time ever on a Friday night.
Yeah, playoff night too. So it's gonna be real good, real good. BK Matt is on load management. No, he's actually at work though. But shouts to BK Matt and the head of the Yerrr Sports table, the Queen Tay, 7K Tay.
Ow.
Showed off. Look at blank.
Blang. Hey guys.
Oh, you got the earrings too? Oh my gosh! Somebody stop it. She told us to stop it.
You know you can't get the bracelet and not get the earrings. You have to fully accessorize.
The chain is coming too.
See?
Oh my god! We ain't gonna be able to.
I told you, summer 2021. It's going to be Tay Day.
Tay Day, all day, every day.
All day, every day. I'm coming outside. I'm vaccinated, and ready to go.
How was everybody's week?
It was fine until right then and there.
Yeah, like that's gross. Like,
it's not. But I didn't. I love you, Tay, but you know that's like
you're not gonna see him playing like I'm some troll.
Right. We also talk about worse. So
yeah, it's just,
we definitely.
You're not gonna play me like I'm no troll.
Oh,
no, you're not. You're a beautiful woman, but you like a sister, Tay, and I don't need to be hearing that from my sister.
Oh man, 7K. How was your week? Oh man. 2 guns up. It's a wrap.
My eye. Hold on, let me make a game 1 and 3. My eye.
Yo.
Man, I tell you.
Man, I cannot wait to speak
and when
about
I said
that.
vaccinated, I meant my eyebrows. You see how y'all took it to another level?
No, that's Pete. I just laughed.
Don't blame me. No. You're not getting no.
I'm the
your
host
ass
of this.
went home off camera.
All right, hold on.
Peter, do not
you don't say nothing now. You don't say nothing. But 7K, how was your week?
It was interesting. It was great.
I bet it was. I bet it was.
When Tay says interesting, that's a whole nother level of interesting.
Oh man. As y'all know, I'm starting the process as a supervisor position, learning, a lot of it is the same functions I was doing as an agent. It's just now I'm overseeing people and I'm not in the action as much. And it's kind of like, I want to help, but I can't. I have to watch people do something I wish I was able to do. Isn't it frustrating,
especially if people do things wrong and you have to sit there and it's like,
man.
You just want to help them to get it done, but you got to let them kind of go through that failure.
Yo, it is sick because when I say sick, Nikki, what's going on? Thank you for joining us. Thank you for joining us.
Nikki.
So it's sick because I'm learning the new agents. I'm not at my same station. I'm in a brand new station, and I'm watching people do stuff, and I'm like, that's not how we do it. And then if you jump in, they're like, oh, you're taking over my flight. And I'm like, all right, I guess. But all in all, it's a cool experience. I can't wait to, get more into it. But we had a real interesting week of basketball and other things in sports. So Pete, let's jump right in. YouTube, you know what not to do. So let's jump into quick hits.
Oh All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is quick hits for the week of May 21st, and a short week, but still a lot of news hitting. And let's start with news that broke just earlier today. Manny Pacquiao coming back to the ring, ending a 2-year fight absence. He will be facing Errol Spence Jr., who's 27-0 and holds 2 of the 4 belts in the 147-pound division. Also ranked number 4 in the world, pound for pound. The fight will happen in Las Vegas on August the 21st. And if that's not the big story, Manny Pacquiao's agent and promoter then in a statement said that this was the only opponent for Pacquiao. Pacquiao never backs down from real fights and will never end up fighting no-name celebrities or YouTube stars. He will always fight big-name fighters, as said here. So we all know who they're talking about with this here. But Manny Pacquiao, 2 years out of the ring, I mean, listen, he could have probably fought a scrub and still got money for it. He's deciding to fight number 4 in the world pound for pound. I can kind of understand where Pacquiao is coming from, but does this blow up in Pac's face if he loses this fight? Let's move to the NFL. Now, everybody knows what the big story is, and we'll get to that in a second. But let's talk about somebody who was in and out of the league before we could blink. The 49ers waived wide receiver Marquise Lee 4 days after signing him to a contract. They signed him on Monday, and they waived him today on Friday. Marquise Lee, only 29 years old, sat out last year for coronavirus issues, did not play in last year's NFL season. But now, let's go to the story that we've all been hearing about all week. And it came down officially last night. Tim Tebow has officially signed with the Jacksonville Jaguars as a tight end. He will wear number 85. Tebow will turn 34 in August. Has not played football since the 2015 NFL preseason. And has spent the last 6 years working as a broadcaster on the SEC network and working on his professional baseball career as a minor leaguer in the New York Mets system. Now, we were talking about this in the chat ever since this story broke. We've been talking about this amongst the team. And, there was a question that was kind of asked, about like why Tebow gets another chance versus other players, especially players like Colin Kaepernick. And I had mentioned something about Tim Tebow is money in a sense. And Adam Schefter shared something earlier today. As of this morning, the top 5 selling items on NFLshop.com were all Tim Tebow Jaguars merchandise. Tay, I see that face.
Next topic.
All right. Moving on to the NBA, and we will get into the playoffs and the play-in tournament later on in the show. But let's talk about a record-breaking moment for the NBA as the number 7 prospect in the ESPN class of 2022, Sterling Scoot Henderson, has become the first non-draft eligible player to sign with the NBA's G League Ignite program. He's the first high school junior to commit to the Ignite program, and due to his age, will become the first player signed who is not NBA draft eligible in 1 year. He will be graduating high school a year early, and because he will not turn 19 until 2023, he must spend 2 years in the G League Ignite program. So, I mean, the kid's graduating a year early, can't get mad at him, but we're now seeing more and more options for kids bypassing college. And we can talk everything we want about college and the non-paying system and all those other things, but I don't know. I'm a bit of a traditionalist. I think there are a lot of things that college gives to young men and women that going straight professional at such a young age just does not give them, especially, knowledge and just world experience that they could get in college. I get a lot of these kids are staying only 1 year. But still, I mean, it's something to kind of bridge them. And I don't know how I feel about 18, 19-year-olds going into a fully professional environment like this.
We've had it happen before, and that's how you end up with the Kobe Bryants. That's what you end up with the Kevin Garnetts, and sometimes that's how you end up with the Kwame Browns. But
more times than not, you end up with the Kwame Browns.
No, not even. The problem is the NBA is now not the problem. The NBA is now more well equipped to help assist those players transitioning from high school to the league with the G League Ignite system. And I do get it. Like, there's nothing like the college atmosphere, and then the other side of it, well, the college players don't get paid, but the majority of these players are playing to get to the league. Why do I need to play in college if this is my fast track to the league? It's either you're good enough to play and you find out in those 2 years of that year in the G League, or you're not. But
I think what's interesting, Dre, about that is these kids, the minute they do that, they lose any college eligibility. And if a player flames out, if a player's not as good as, and we have seen top-ranked college players, number one draft picks, all of these top hype players not make it, right? And their NBA career is done by the time they're 22, 23 years old. And now they can go back to college. And I always go back to the story of David Wesley. David Wesley came out early, went to the NBA early, and then when his career ended, he went back to college to get his degree, and he went back to his alma mater. And he told the story about how soul crushing it was to be walking around that campus and everybody saying, "Oh, you're so-and-so, you're so-and-so," but he's nowhere near that person, like in his own mind. He's nowhere near that person that they see anymore. And now you're talking about a 22-year-old kid, no world experience, no college degree, NBA career is over. God, hopefully they've saved some kind of money off of those G League contracts or that first NBA contract. I mean, what do they have left? Their entire basketball career is over now. And they're still in their prime.
What are your thoughts on it, Queen?
I mean, I hate that Kwame Brown gets the flack for that bust, and the NBA doesn't get the flack for it. Just being honest with you. Why is this picture teeth? I don't know.
Why is this picture?
I think you have to be an exceptional talent to be able to make that transition from high school straight to the pros. I think that it's not a fair. It's not fair to these kids, to be honest with you. I mean, thankfully, some of them have had the right type of, I would say, career. Oh, I'd rather see her face. Okay. I'd rather have them have something to fall back on, because putting an all or nothing type of career prospect on the back of a 17, 18-year-old kid couldn't go one of two ways. Either really good, like you said, in the events of LeBrons and then the Kobe's and the KGs and such. But those are unicorns, you know? And I think that if you're really good, and if you're that good, you could be that good in 2 years.
Right. I agree. I do agree in that sense. I just think it also depends on the player and what they got going on. I'm never gonna tell anybody who's coming from the dirt to not take an opportunity that's right in front of you, college or not, or because sometimes it's all or nothing for some of them. But I do agree. Having something to fall back on, yes, is important, and I think the NBA and probably NCAA should probably work on something like that. But as we all know, they don't really get along because of the one and done rule and all the other mess. But what's the next topic? What's the next story?
Going into Major League Baseball, last week on Quick Hits, we talked about how there have been 5 no-hitters in baseball. And as of this week, we now have a 6th. As Corey Kluber, 35-year-old Cy Young winner on the Yankees rotation, throw his first career no-hitter and the 6th total in the majors, the fastest ever we've reached this amount of no-hitters in this amount of time in the season. And when he beats the Texas Rangers 2-0, Kluber actually played for the Rangers for all of one inning last year before getting hurt. And again, the MLB record for no-hitters in a season is 7. It's been done 4 times, 1990, 1991, 2012, and the last time in 2015. We already have 6, and we haven't even gotten to June yet in Major League Baseball. This is a major thing. And there was an article that came out on ESPN.com, I do forget who wrote it, where they asked if this amount of no-hitters this early in the season is a bad thing for baseball. What do you think?
No, it's either the pitching is really good or the players don't know how to swing right now. I'm going to go with the pitchers being extremely good. I don't want to take anything away from these batters, but these pitchers are on fire right now. Now there's 2 teams that happen to get no twice, but
yes.
but
3 teams actually now.
3 teams. So 3 teams are part of the no-hit list, basically. Now you're waiting for somebody to get a complete game.
I don't know. I mean, at this rate, I'm wondering when's going to be a perfect game this season.
What's going on? Yeah, somebody's gonna get a perfect game. Somebody's gonna get a perfect game, and it may happen. It probably happened more sooner than later.
All right, and so now let's go to the last story we have in Quick Hits, also in Major League Baseball. And you knew it was just a matter of time before something happened. Remember early in the season, we spoke about how the Chicago White Sox hired 76-year-old Tony La Russa to be the manager for the team, the oldest manager in the majors, managing the youngest team in the major leagues.
Totally forgot about that, but thank you for reminding me.
And earlier this on Monday night, Chicago was winning 15-4. In the 9th inning, a position player was pitching for the Minnesota Twins, so they didn't have to use any more pitchers. Designated hitter Yerrr Mercedes was on a 3-0 count, 3 balls, no strikes. And anybody who watches baseball knows that the unwritten rule in baseball is you always take on 3-0. You never swing on 3-0. That is an unwritten rule for almost as long as I've been alive. I've kind of known that, especially as a baseball player. Well, what happened? He was given the take sign, and Yerrr Mercedes swung anyway at a 47-mile-per-hour pitch that was right over the plate, and he hit a home run. And Tony La Russa said on Tuesday, quote, "Big mistake. The fact that he's a rookie and excited helps explain why he was just clueless, but now he's got a clue." And if that wasn't the biggest story that came out of it, CC Sabathia, former Yankees pitcher, on his R2C2 podcast with Ryan Rucco, said, I'm going to do my best to bleep this here. That's just effing stupid. It's stupid, period. I'm sorry. The ish is terrible. He shouldn't be effing managing that team. And if you're not going to step up and have your players back, what's the point of being the effing manager of the White Sox? Ish is stupid as F. Sorry. Yeah, the game wasn't over. If you're going to put in an effing position player in there to pitch, guess what? He's gonna lob Ish over the plate. We're going to effing tee off. If you don't want that, put a 10 rule run up there. If y'all don't want to see people getting embarrassed, and you don't want to see position players pitch and people swinging on 3-0 counts and all that ish, then make it a 10-run rule so the effing game would be over and you don't have these stupid ass unwritten rules. The story kind of continued because on the next game on Tuesday night, the White Sox threw behind Yerrr Mercedes as kind of a retaliation for the embarrassment. And Tony La Russa didn't really seem to care about it and actually said to reporters, that's what he gets for breaking the unwritten rules of the game. You kind of got to pay for that. White Sox have said there's no plans to fire Tony La Russa, but what do you think? I mean, again, as a baseball purist, I get the unwritten rule thing, but at the same time, I mean, the kid hit a home run. It's not like the kid swung on 3-0 and grounded out to first base.
Let me tell you something, right? And this will be an episode in the future when there's nothing going on in sports. These unwritten rules, and especially for baseball, I don't give a damn. like, I wish I was Matt right now, and I can bleep it myself, but I'm not going to do that. I don't care what nobody says. You lobbing the ball over the plate and the game is still going on. I don't care how much I'm up by. I'm swinging that bat and it is going. I do not care about none of that. Don't have people who can't pitch out here pitching. Don't have pitch. Like, come on. I'm reading the chat. Dave's killing me right now, but I don't like unwritten rules. There's unwritten rules in basketball too. I get because I'm a basketball player, Tay's a basketball and a football player. So and you play basketball as well. So we understand there's certain unwritten rules, but the baseball unwritten rules are terrible, bro. Like it just seems like they're just there to stroke the egos of some of these players, bro. And it's I don't know. I don't know, but it is what it is. So.
I mean, and a lot of it is, and again, I get it. A lot of these are just rules that came out from back in the day. So a lot of it is about respecting the game, and the game has changed. But the one thing is, a lot of these old school managers, and you knew this was going to happen at some point with Tony La Russa, like that old school mentality. Just it's not going to die. I mean, I don't blame La Russa, but I also don't blame the player. I agree with what you said, Trey. If you're going to lob something across the middle of the plate, and I'm going to smack a home run. I think La Russa, again, if the kid would have grounded out to first base on 3-0, get upset at him. Kid hit a home run. Let's not take it too far.
At all. Don't get upset at all. And that was quick hits for the week of May 21st. Today's the 22nd or 21st?
Today is the 21st.
Okay, I lose track of days because now my days off for change. I'm working 9 to 5. So, yes, thank you, Pete, for quick hits. Let's jump right into today's topic before Tay gets herself in trouble. So,
I love that beat, by the way.
Thank you. I found it on like a mixtape, like a hoops mixtape. I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good." I heard this like 10 years ago. I'm like, "Oh yeah,
I
this is
love
gonna
it.
be good."
It has a Stevie Wonder vibe to it.
Yeah, you know what song it's from, right?
New.
I will send it to you. I don't have it offhand. I have it in my phone, but I'll send it. I'll tell you guys after. Let's just get right into the nitty gritty of things. Pete mentioned it in quick hits. Kaepernick, Tebow. We've had a whole episode on Kaepernick. We've had multiple topics on Kaepernick. And we are back rounding the bases again on Kaepernick because now it has something to do with another player who has been out the league almost as long as Kaepernick has been, and that is Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow originally got drafted as a quarterback to the Denver Broncos. People in football did nothing for them, but when
7-game winning streak took them to the playoffs.
Colin Kaepernick went to the Super Bowl.
And if it wasn't for Beyonce, like he would have won. See, look at them having to perform at Beyonce's concert. That's what happened. So, and Tim Tebow was told when he came into the league, hey, you should probably switch positions. As soon as he came to the league, Tim Tebow said no. He did what he did for the Broncos, and he phased out. He tried to play for the Jets, tried to play for the boys in Dallas. He phased out, right? He goes away. He decides he wants to play baseball. He's really bad at baseball, but he decides to get a chance to go play baseball. He does something he's really good at, and that's commentating. He's really good at commentating. So is Tony Romo. I said Tony Romo and your dog started barking. But he comes back. Now he's a tight end. Colin Kaepernick kneels for the national anthem. People call it disrespectful, all this other junk. Fighting the good fight that we feel is a good fight. Not everybody's going to feel the same way we do. And I get it. And he's been exiled for the league. 2 players. I'm not saying Colin Kaepernick should be somebody's starter on somebody's team. I'm not saying someone has to sign him to a max deal. But my question to the table is this, again, and we're going to ruffle some feathers today, is this white privilege or is this just that Colin Kaepernick has completely fallen out of grace with the league to the point where people are no longer acknowledging the skill that he had? I'm not saying he was the best quarterback, but he was solid, and he could be solid enough to be somebody's backup on somebody's team. He could have been a Jets starting quarterback right now. No disrespect to the Jets, a little bit of disrespect to the Jets, but you know. Pete? Queen. I'll start with you.
All right. So first of all, I think it is a little bit of privilege with the Tim Tebow situation, but we also have to think Tim Tebow was more of a pop culture phenomenon in the NFL than he ever was player. So I think that they're signing on to the Tim Tebow brand more than the Tim Tebow as the player, right? Tim Tebow is now a tight end. The type of responsibility of a tight end is not that of a quarterback. So it's a little bit of a different, I would say, comparison at this point, because I can't see Colin Kaepernick playing another role besides quarterback. And Tim Tebow, his big ass, he could play different positions on the field. You get what I'm saying? But I do think that this was more of a strategic business move than it was an example of, well, Cap should get another try. I think we are so past Kaepernick getting another chance in the NFL. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that conversation is way over. Is it right? No. Is it just? No. But this is where we are with the situation. I feel as if Tebow, I think it's nonsense. Don't get me wrong. I think that the fact that he was able to move in and out of major league sports like that is an example of privilege, is an example of greed and money. But, am I going to say, well, give that spot to Cap? No. I think that in the next 50 years, we're going to look at this and notice that they're going to be on the wrong side of history. This is a history teaching moment.
Most definitely. I agree with you. Definitely a history teaching moment. We know Tim Tebow is, like you said, Tim Tebow is a big dude. Like, he's a big dude. He probably should have been playing wide receiver in college, too.
Or even tight end.
Yeah. But, Pete, what are your thoughts on it? And an additional question to you, and Tay, you can answer it after Peter does. Is he going to make the roster? Annoying. That's why, originally I was like, oh, God, Tebow go away. But is he even going to make the roster?
I mean, and I'm going to answer your second question first. I think that's a bigger toss-up than anything. I think he's like the 6th tight end on the roster, but most of them are not very good. I think their top tight end is more of a blocking tight end. The question is going to be, listen, if Tebow goes to camp and becomes, one of the best pass catchers, we know the guy has the body. We know the guy can take the hits. If the guy shows that he can catch and he can run routes and he can do the things that they need him to do, I could see him making the team as a backup. I could see them, if Tim Tebow was good enough, I can see them utilizing him in the way that New Orleans was trying to utilize Taysom Hill for the last couple of years. I could see them trying to run him in some packages. They know he could be a big back, maybe as a running back kind of thing, a handoff to the tight end. And listen, the guy's not the greatest thrower in the world, but who says you can't run a wildcat where you snap the ball to Tebow and Tebow throws the ball. The guy can throw, doesn't throw very well, has a slow throwing motion, but if you have a strong enough offensive line, this is what happened in Denver. He has a gun. You know that much. You know the guy has a deep ball, right? You're not going to get him to throw, 40 passes a game, and he's not going to have an 80% completion percentage. But you want to throw a 50-yard bomb? You want to throw a 40-yard bomb? You want to run a trick play, use Tebow to throw the ball? I could see them doing that now. Why do they bring Tim Tebow in? Tay was right on it. And Tay knows this more better than all of us, right? It's all about branding. It's all about business. It's all about a strategic move. Yes, part of it is privilege. Part of it is Tim Tebow. Without Tim Tebow, there probably isn't an Urban Meyer in the way that we know Urban Meyer, right? He won Urban Meyer 2 titles. Well, he won Urban Meyer 1. He was the backup for the first title in Florida, right? But without Tebow, there probably isn't an Urban Meyer in the way that we know it. So, yeah, a lot of it is that favor from a friend. He sees Tebow as a son to him. He's going to give him a chance. But why Tebow and not somebody like Kaep? Listen, political things aside, we saw what everybody still remembers what happened in January of this past year. Everybody still remembers, okay? And what you find is when white people get angry, they get angry in a very, very violent way. And the one thing the NFL has always been about is money. Okay? And I don't think Kaepernick disrespected the troops. I don't think Kaepernick disrespected anybody. I don't think anybody here thinks Kaepernick disrespected anybody. And I think there's a large community of people that don't think Kaepernick disrespected everybody. But here's the problem. That part of Americana that thinks he did would cost the NFL money. And the NFL's not trying to put that kind of – so, yeah, they blackballed Kaepernick to save their own bag, right, regardless. Because I hate to say it. The people who are defending Kaepernick, the same people who want Kaepernick to get another job in the league, weren't buying Kaepernick's jersey off the shelves. They weren't selling out Kaepernick merchandise. I said it in quick hits. Tim Tebow has the top 5 selling merchandise items on NFL Shop today. The boy just got signed yesterday. And he has the top 5 selling merchandise items. Okay?
And he's not even guaranteed to make the team. That's right. So he's bringing a bunch of money to Jacksonville.
And let's talk about what he did in minor league baseball, right? Uh-huh. The only man who ever brought more crowds to minor league baseball than Tim Tebow was Michael Jordan when he played minor league baseball. When Tim Tebow played in the minor leagues, okay, the Class A team that he played for, the Columbia Fireflies, had a 21% rise in attendance from the previous year. When he played for the Port St. Lucie Mets, their attendance went up by 37%. When they went on the road, almost 2,500 more fans attended the games than against any other opponent. And according to Baseball America, they calculated that Tim Tebow generated nearly $1.6 million in tickets, parking, concessions, and other revenue for the rest of the South Atlantic League when he played on the road. $1.6 million, one man with a $10,000 contract.
You know why, right? Because of the demographic that he attracts. The prayer, the Bible thumping South. You get what I'm saying? Yep. Like those are in really big football, football towns. So he brings the demographic that spends money at NFL Shop, who would go to these off-market team games. Like no one cares about the Jacksonville, the Jaguars. This is a low risk, high reward for them. They're not a playoff contending team. They have nothing really to lose. So that's exactly why I feel this was a good move for Jacksonville.
Nothing to lose, but everything to gain.
Yep.
Absolutely. Going from one, it's not even a controversy anymore. We know what it is. But going from one kind of head scratcher or a funny moment to another, the King and his eye patch, his one eye.
Let me make this 3.
The Pirate King was in a hell of a game against the Warriors,
who are still going to make the playoffs. By the way, I'm going to say that.
Right.
What a game that was!
Man,
What a game that was! That was a hell of a game. I would have to say.
First man I ever seen make a one-eye 3-pointer.
outside of that, I think that. 1 second. I'm sorry. Quick question. Quick question before I get into a long-term statement. Luck or skill for LeBron James? Matt. I mean, not Matt, because I was thinking Matt, because Matt is listening and he's in my head. But Pete, luck or skill for LeBron?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, when you got a shot like that in that time frame, in that moment, I think some of it is luck. You can't discount luck from it. I don't care how great of a player you are, you still need luck, especially with those big shots. But part of it is also skill. And you know what I really loved from the commentary team in that game was when he made that 3, they brought up the fact that was not something that you expected LeBron James to be able to do early in his career. And when you look at the evolution of LeBron James, that would not have been a shot that you would have been comfortable giving to LeBron James early in his career. You know what's funny? A lot of people are putting money on the Lakers to beat the Suns. There's a lot of money on the Lakers to beat the Suns in the first round.
I can see it.
We'll definitely talk about that. We'll definitely talk about that next.
Yeah.
Because that's in this particular topic. Tay, what are your thoughts? Luck or that's the King. He could do that.
That is the King. Okay? That is the King. Now, that was luck. That was luck. And that was a hell of a flop beforehand. And that was the one thing that I did not like about LeBron, especially during his Miami days. Those flopping. I had not seen LeBron flop that much since the American Airlines Arena back in 2012, 2013. That was a travesty. But let me, you know what I'm saying?
Knicks Heat, Tyson Chandler on that screen. LeBron dying. Yes, I remember that.
Oof. But you know what? Let me tell you something. I will not stop saying that LeBron James is the greatest player of this generation. I feel as if, me personally, I think he's better than Jordan. I don't care what anybody tells me. I've watched both play live and in color. You get what I'm saying? It was old enough to really make that determination. But that Golden State Warrior team, like I told you guys at the beginning of the season, that Steph could really do it on his own. And he's showing us that we forget that team changed the league.
It did.
So that wasn't going to be an easy game. That was an NBA Western Conference final that we got in one game. You get what I'm saying?
That was game 7.
That was game 7. And you give that, but the thing is, you know what I'm most disappointed in? Anthony Davis looked softer than Charmins. Draymond Green had his number.
Lock up.
He had his cell. He had his house. He had his pager. He had his email address. He had his grandma's address. That's how bad he had him locked up. He had him locked up so much he had to send him commissary.
We say what you want about Draymond Green as a person, but that boy can play defense.
Yo.
And he knows how to play the psychological game, too. That's what's so interesting about Draymond. Draymond plays with people psychologically and messes them up and throws them off their game on the court.
I can give you that, but I'm gonna raise you the fact that Anthony Davis is soft, right? Anthony Davis is soft, and
he's too soft. He's too soft. This was the problem last year that made people worry that the Lakers weren't going to take it as far as they did. Let me tell you something. If the Lakers have any chance of making it past the first and second round, he needs to toughen up. He needs to be more of a defensive presence. He should not be shooting three-pointers.
Man, we were in chat we were all looking like, yo, is he gonna stop?
Why is he shooting threes? Why isn't he at the rim?
I said this though.
Why is he even at the top of the key? Why is he there? It makes no sense to me. No.
And I hate analytics. Analytics, because they make it seem like, well, it's a 3 or a dunk, and that's the best shot. Anthony Davis is almost 7 foot. Draymond Green is 6'6", not 6'7", not 6'11". Draymond Green is 6'6", 2 inches taller than Charles Barkley. Charles Barkley was a pretty decent defender, but Charles Barkley wasn't out here stopping Shaq, or David Robinson, or Hakeem Olajuwon. Draymond Green is out here stopping Anthony Davis, who was supposed to be the number 2 player in the league, what people were saying. Disregard after people like forgetting about KD. Let's say number 3. They're saying he's the number 3 best player in the league because KD is balling. KD is balling. I give it to him. My thing is,
let me tell you something. If the Brooklyn Nets, I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm gonna say it right now.
Yes.
If they don't win the championship this year, they are going to be a bust of a team. I'm gonna say that right now. They can't even afford to win it next year. To me.
Right.
I don't want them to win.
Yeah, I
want the Knicks to take it far.
The Brooklyn Nets should sweep the first round. They
5 games second.
Yeah, 5 games second.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you
6 third.
I'll give you 6, and depending on the team, maybe 7 in the third round.
That should be the biggest competition they have
in the finals, unless you are going against a team like if the Clippers ratchet it up and play like dogs, because Rondo and Boogie are there and they're actual dogs, and they wake up choosing violence every day. The whole team needs to wake up choosing violence for them to even be on the same level as Brooklyn to play them in the finals.
Here's the thing. Here's the interesting thing about Brooklyn. If the first round goes chalk, they play the Knicks in the second round. If the top seeds in each series wins, but I think a lot of people are expecting maybe Miami to pull the upset over Milwaukee, which would mean that
it's not an upset. It's not an upset.
Which would, seed wise.
For me, for us who've watched Miami and watched them, for us it's not going to be an upset. Everybody else is kind of like they better not beat them.
If Miami beats Milwaukee, then it's Miami and the Nets in the second round. But I think a lot of people, and maybe I'm being a little Nate McMillan right now in saying that the NBA wants Milwaukee to beat Miami because they want it to be the Knicks and the Nets in the second round. Because imagine what New York is going to be like. The Knicks and the Nets.
Milwaukee. They want Milwaukee to make it because of all that nonsense we've been hearing about Giannis for the past couple of years.
That's what I'm saying. They want Milwaukee to win, and they want the Knicks to win because if the Knicks and Milwaukee wins, the Knicks are the lowest remain. The Knicks would be. The Nets would play. Actually, no. I apologize. The Knicks would play Philly, and the Nets would play Milwaukee. So it wouldn't be the Knicks and the Nets. The Knicks and the Nets cannot meet.
I'm gonna tell you something. The Nets don't want to see Miami at full health. Don't let James G Buckets. And I know what the G stands for. Bro.
Let me tell you something.
I apologize for that. It'll be the Nets. The Nets versus either Milwaukee or Miami.
Me. Go ahead, Tay.
The Brooklyn Nets. It depends on seeding, but they don't want to see Miami, and I think they'll have a tough time with Philly too, depending on the round. Because Doc Rivers can't get past the second round to save his life.
The only way they play Philly is in the conference finals. So if all the top seeds win, the second round would be Philly versus New York and Milwaukee versus Brooklyn. If Miami beats Milwaukee, then it'll be the Nets versus the Heat and Philly versus the Knicks. The only way out of it, I don't think there's any way we get even Knicks and Nets in the second round, because it's no way
to get to the second round. The Knicks have to make it to the conference finals for it to happen. And the Knicks have a bit of a challenge if they have to play Philly. But the good thing about the Knicks, the thing that Philly is the best at, the Knicks have an answer to stop that. You got Nerlens Noel. I'm not saying Nerlens Noel is the world beater, but the Knicks' interior defense are top in the league. Nobody scores in the paint on the Knicks. They are number one in the league in paint defense. Joel Embiid is not a good three-point shooter. He is not a good shooter in general.
Ben Simmons ain't a shooter.
And Ben Simmons is not a shooter. If you box up Embiid and get to the shooters, the Knicks should get past Philly. I'm not.
Let me tell you something.
Uh-huh.
That Tom Thibodeau team, that Chicago Bulls team back in 2010, 2011, injuries was the only thing stopping them from being the team that get out of the Eastern Conference. I do feel that Thibodeau may have some things up his sleeve defensively. The Knicks is one of the only teams on the East, besides Miami, that actually plays defense and plays it well. Brooklyn Nets, they do not play good defense. They don't play good defense. I'm sorry, but they don't.
The Achilles heel of the New York Knicks is if R.J. Barrett is off. If R.J. Barrett does not show up if R.J. Barrett does not show up in the playoffs, if the people who are the supposed shooters on the Knicks, and I do use quotation marks because there's really one real shooter on the Knicks, and it's Bullock. If he does not, the other people who are supposed to know how to shoot don't show up, the Knicks are dead in the water. You're not going to beat a team by only scoring less than 100 points.
Funny thing about it is you brought up – go ahead. Go ahead, Ted.
No, go ahead.
Mm-hmm. You brought up Nerlens Noel.
Mm-hmm.
Funny thing is he was one of the original process players in Philly. Nerlens was one of those original ones with Jahlil Okafor, and Markelle Fultz and all of them boys.
And they had 1,000 centers, and then people who couldn't play. Well, Markelle Fultz had a.
Embiid, I believe, was the third of the three, because I believe it was Okafor, Noel, and then Embiid.
They drafted all injury-prone centers, and only one of them turned out to be something.
Right. And then they had Simmons, they had Fultz, and they had another guard, I believe, that they traded away.
I forgot who, but they traded Michael Carter-Williams.
Right.
Let me tell you something, too. Derrick Rose might really be an X factor in these playoffs. He has a lot to prove. He has a lot of redemption, and I think that he would prefer the Knicks making it to the Eastern Conference Finals than the Sixth Man of the Year award. I'm just saying.
And I feel he might get screwed out of that, considering that he was only in New York for maybe half the season.
Doesn't matter. The redemption story is big enough.
I don't think I'm going to be honest, and I know y'all may disagree. I don't think he played better than Jordan Clarkson this year.
I don't think so either.
Right. I don't think he played better than Jordan Clarkson. So, in actuality, the thing is, and Joe Ingles didn't play bad off the bench either. So this is
I think
probably
all three Knicks that are up for awards could get screwed out of all three awards.
But I don't think they're going to get screwed. I think what's his name's going to get most improved. Randall's going to get most improved. He's definitely like, if you count the MVP candidates, he's definitely number 5.
I could see that.
He could have been number 3 if Steph Curry wasn't dogging. But go ahead, Pete.
I could see them giving steam to Michael Porter Jr., especially considering the way he picked it up at the end of the year. Absolutely. Once Jamal Murray went down. So I could see Randall getting screwed out by them giving it to Porter Jr. I could see, as you said, Clarkson getting it over Rose. And I could see Quinn Snyder or Monty Williams getting Coach of the Year over Thibodeau. But I think all 3 Knicks finalists for those awards are could easily win that award or should be the 1A candidate. But I honestly think these 3 finalists, unfortunately, they're going to get nicked. They're going to get nicked.
The question to that, my question to that is, are we giving it to the Knicks because of, like Tay just said, the story of the New York Knicks resurrecting New York basketball, or are we giving it to them because these players were simply better than what they're going up against?
Because you have to look at weapons that other teams have. And you have to look at what the Knicks has. And I think, me personally, looking at it in an objective point of view, I feel as if at least the most improved award don't come to New York, then it's a farce.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Anything else, anything else, whatever. But Randall, yeah.
Yeah, the fact that Randall wasn't included in the MVP, and I can understand where you probably have Randall 4th in that voting category. But I would have loved to see Randall competing for MVP. I feel like he should get 6th Man of the Year as a consolation almost, even because I think that man played an MVP. No, let me not say I think. That man played at an MVP caliber level this year.
You mean most improved, not 6th Man. You mean
right, most improved. Right?
Yeah, but Derrick, like I said, the story of Derrick Rose, man, like I said, I know he doesn't want this 6th Man, not saying that, everybody wants an NBA award, but like Tay said, getting to the conference finals and, dare I say, the NBA finals, just to have a shot to play on that big stage is way bigger than, a 6th Man of the Year award that he can get anytime. This is not going to be Derrick Rose's last chance to get a championship. No. Like, people are going to want Derrick Rose this offseason, and I wouldn't be surprised if one of the powerhouse teams try to do something to get him, like a LA, like a Clippers, maybe even like a Utah who can use another backup guard off the bench, maybe like a Phoenix, like something like that. Derrick Rose services are going to be definitely used in the next season. He can definitely and I hope, out of a lot of people, I love Chris Paul. I love Carmelo Anthony. But in my gut, I think Derrick Rose is going to be the first one out of those 3 to win a ring, and because he'll be on a powerhouse team. That gets him there. But let's talk about Kwame Brown. What did you say?
I just see that.
Yeah. Let's talk about Kwame Brown.
Do we have to?
We do. Kwame Brown, basically, long story short, he felt offended because of the way Gilbert Arenas, and I'm saying Gilbert Arenas because Gilbert Arenas was doing most of the talking, because of what Gilbert Arenas was saying on All of the Smoke. I wish I had the clip, but YouTube will strike the video, so I can't have the clip. But he's basically saying that Jordan got in his heart, and Kwame Brown never recovered. That is the basis of the conversation. Kwame Brown never recovered while he was in Washington. Gilbert Arenas felt that he needed a new scenery to get out of the shadow of that. His new scenery ended up going to play with somebody who is Michael Jordan's protege, so that probably didn't help him either, because we know how Kobe is. And then he ends up going back to Michael Jordan in Charlotte. Does Kwame Brown have a legit grief that people are talking about how he played and now? I don't think one of them said, yeah, he was garbage, but does he have a legit grief, Pete? Does he have a legit grief?
Listen, I usually don't ever talk about Kwame Brown unless I'm talking about the worst players I've ever seen in the NBA or the biggest draft busts in the NBA.
But Gilbert said he could have been like AD.
No. Yeah, soft like Shaman, like Queen Tay said. Kwame Brown could have been that. Listen, I don't want to hear nothing out of Kwame Brown. The man averaged 6.6 points and 5.5 rebounds a game. Right? The kid should have gone to Florida. I'm sorry. He originally was going to go play in Florida. Okay, and he should have went to Florida, but Jordan took him. And you know what? Kwame Brown's got to eat his words, because you know what Kwame Brown told Doug Collins? Okay, he said, if you draft me, you'll never regret it. I'm sorry. I think a lot of us regret it. Okay. I don't think his scenery was the problem. Yes, he got drafted by Michael Jordan. He was that big pick, first pick out of high school, big thing, right? All of a sudden, lofty expectations placed on his shoulders. Okay. Then he went to LA. Okay. I know it'd been a couple of years, but he's still stepping into the footsteps of Shaquille O'Neal. Okay. You're playing against with Kobe Bryant. Not easy places to play. But I'm sorry. Kwame Brown also played for the 2008 Memphis Grizzlies. He also played 2 seasons with the Pistons, played a season with the Bobcats, with the Warriors, with the 76ers, and didn't do anything. Okay, so at what point do we say, you know what, Kwame Brown needed a change of scenery? He got a couple of changes of scenery. Okay, and as of 2011, the man was still making $7 million when he signed with the Warriors. In 2012, signed a 2-year contract for $6 million. Okay, I'm sorry, man. I'm just like, the greatest thing Kwame Brown ever did for the league was be part of the trade package that got the Lakers Pau Gasol.
We too hard on Kwame Brown, y'all. I'm sorry. I think let me tell you something. Black media personalities and media personalities of color, you know what I'm saying? We have to be more responsible as to how we talk about Kwame Brown. He is somebody who overcame a lot to get into the league. He was a 17-year-old kid with the world on his shoulders, right? And had to stand in the shadow of 2 of the generation, 2 of the world's greatest players of all time, right? His skills didn't match up to that. And no matter what, even if he was even a little bit closer than where he was, living in that shadow was never going to allow him to become his own player, right? Now, I feel like, okay, being the number 1 draft pick, you would consider that a draft bust, but that's not. I don't think that's fair. You shouldn't have been drafting a 17-year-old kid straight from high school who you really didn't know if he was going to work out or not. Period. You know what I'm saying? But I think that we need to hold the NBA accountable for that. Hold Jordan accountable for that. Keep that energy. You know what I'm saying? With that. Do I feel like Gilbert Arenas' comments were off? Not necessarily. I feel like he responded to it very gracefully. You know what I'm saying? But, Charlemagne went in. Jamel Hill went in. You get what I'm saying? And the thing is, this guy, he prefers to stay out of the spotlight. So let him continue to stay out of the spotlight. Was he a bust? Considering he was the number 1 draft pick, I would consider the fact that his average and stuff like that did not put him to where we thought, Jordan and them thought at the time he was going to be. But, am I going to go in and be like, oh, he's this, oh, he's that? No, I can't do that. That's not fair. And I'm not going to sit here and I'm not going to crucify a black man on this podcast tonight. That did not ask me. He did not do anything worth that. All he did was exist. All he did was be compared to unrealistic expectations. If I was a player and I'm supposed to be coming under Jordan, those are big shoes to fill. Kobe couldn't even fill Jordan's shoes to the league. Just being fair. Was he a great player? Hells no.
The bum.
Did he make $64 million in the NBA? Hell yeah.
He took care of his family. He took care of his family.
Got his mom out the hood.
Mm-hmm. This goes back to the Ignite program, like I was just speaking about, getting a opportunity to get, to make some money and get yourself and your family out of a situation is amazing. Now, in terms of the expectations, of course, he didn't live up to any expectations. And Tay is right in saying that, hey, you had to play under Kobe, you got drafted and played with Michael Jordan. And we literally sat and spoke about this documentary last year and saw how Jordan is with his teammates. I can only imagine how he was realizing that Kwame Brown wasn't the person that he thought he was getting. So not just the NBA, but you have to put a lot of that on Michael Jordan for drafting such a raw talent, thinking that he was going to get something. And that's on him. Michael Jordan's been a bad general manager forever. So, we should have known that he was never going to get better from this.
Let me tell you something. Put more blame on Jordan being that GM or whatever the hell he was at that time than Kwame Brown. His eyes was obviously cockeyed. He didn't know what he was seeing.
Because Isaiah Thomas and business kept slapping him in the head.
And you know what? And Gilbert Arenas needs to also stop running his mouth all the time. Listen, I honestly, this is where it gets weird. When we talk about, people talk about they give all the smoke, and they should, to Jim Cornette, right? I love when Jim Cornette talks wrestling history. But when Jim Cornette talks about the current product, I do not want to hear a word out that man's mouth. When Gilbert Arenas talks about basketball as a sport, when he talks about things in the game of basketball in terms of a coaching perspective, I love listening to Gilbert Arenas. But when Gilbert Arenas starts giving commentary on other players, when you yourself couldn't stay out of trouble, you yourself had maturity issues, where were you, leader of the Washington Wizards, Gilbert Arenas, to help Kwame Brown through all of this? But then you want to put all the blame on Kwame Brown at the same time. Gilbert Arenas, if you want to talk basketball, talk coaching, talk about the game, talk about those things. He's a very smart man, smarter than I ever knew he was when it comes to talking about the game of basketball. But he needs to stop with the social commentary on other players unless he wants to point that proverbial finger backwards and start talking about his own career.
It mishaps.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he definitely
talk about how Gilbert Arenas was the first player waived on the NBA's amnesty clause. Teams couldn't wait to get rid of him. They were like, go.
Hey, y'all make some very valid points, especially that last one. Like I said, Tay, amazing point on, not crucifying a young man, 17 years old, who, he really had no choice of where he was going to go. Really had no choice of where he was going to go. Nobody really has a choice of where they're going to go. And
what was his biggest criticism people said of him? They said his emotional maturity. He's a 17-year-old kid. 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. I don't care. Even 21-year-olds coming out of college don't have emotional maturity. And now you want to put them on.
Don't get emotional maturity till you almost 40 years old. Let's just be real.
Right. You want to put them on an NBA team. You want to put a 17, 18, 19-year-old kid on a plane, flying to different cities every day, being in hotel rooms unsupervised with millions and millions of dollars. Okay, especially sometimes a lot of these kids come from lifestyles where they had that kind of money and that kind of status, and now you're putting that on a 17-year-old kid, and you expect them to be able to make the right choices and be a grown individual? Come on, man. The NBA got to do better.
Absolutely right. And I hope the NBA learned from that with starting this Ignite program, and not just the on-court stuff. The players need the off-court stuff, like therapy, like counseling, to help get themselves
money
management, help them get themselves prepared for the life in the NBA and life after it. Point blank. But y'all basically did the smoke section format, and we didn't even have to play the thing.
Matt was gonna crap all over.
Yeah, Matt was gonna let Kwame Brown have it. Oh man,
what's funny? Jordan drafted Kwame Brown. Jordan drafted Adam Morrison.
That's all we need to know about. Exactly. That's all we need to know about Michael Jeffrey Jordan. So, shout outs to the Jobbers Network. Shout outs to Battle Club Pro. This show is next Saturday. It's a 2 event day. Starting at 3:00, the first show. The second show is at 7 p.m. All of this is in Ridgefield, New Jersey. The link to the show will be on our page. Just go out there and support a good company and a lot of big things coming up from Battle Club Pro, of course.
Shout out to Joakim.
Shout out to Joakim Morales. That is the man with the plan. I was just at the school the other day, and they have some great trainers there. They have some great trainers.
Beautiful facility too.
Yes, very beautiful. Is a lot of big things are coming out the Battle Club umbrella. I can't say I've sworn to secrecy, but we'll definitely catch you guys up on that. Again, the Jobbers Network. The next viewing party is the day after the Battle Club show on the 30th. Make sure you go to Legends. All these wrestling
on the 30th.
All AEW's
Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing.
Next.
AEW's Double or Nothing. Their second biggest pay-per-view. Well, their first ever pay-per-view. Once upon a time, and their second biggest pay-per-view of the year. Make sure you pop out to the Legends Bar. Not everybody, but a lot of people. Make sure you pop up to Legends Bar on the 30th. Again, the Jobbers podcast, 2.5 Bros, Sazone Talk, us at the Yerrr Sports Show, other shows under that, Tavius Tea Time, which was amazing the last time we had it. Thank you, Tay. Looking forward to another one.
You're welcome.
Me and BK Matt will get together for the second episode of Brooklyn.
And Matt don't need no more shows because y'all can't. He's always on low management. You, Dre Dollars, you're not gonna have time.
We figured out. I don't got time for this sometimes, but we make it work. Hey, we make it work.
I'm the busiest person on this planet.
You are, and you make it happen. I'm proud of you. I thank you. You do this. That's why you the head of the table. You put the money on our table. 7K.
Acknowledge me.
Shout out to also. We're talking about acknowledgement. Shout out to Monteezy. More on that coming soon. I will not spoil that surprise for everybody, but shout outs to Monteezy. So, anything else you guys want to add? Anything else that's coming out that I'm forgetting? Nope.
Not in the near future, no.
And my birthday's next week, y'all. All right.
Hey,
so
you and my mama got the same birthday.
Dre Day 30. Like it.
And my daughter's birthday is next weekend too.
Yes. Our little niece's birthday is next weekend too, so a lot of things going on. Peter's mom's birthday next weekend, so I can't wait. We got an action-packed summer, guys. So for BK Matt, who is on load management, and he will be back next week. For the voice of a generation, Pete Rosado. For the head of the Yerrr Sports Show table, the queen, 7K, Tay. It is your boy, Big Baby, signing off.
True.
Peace.